Ladakh is a very strange place for anybody that doesn't live there. I mean, you've got to imagine this ancient kingdom, now a part of India, that sits up very high up in the mountains. The lowest parts of Ladakh are about 9,000 feet up, the highest about 25,000 feet. During the winter, the temperature can drop to minus 30 degrees. And in the summer, the temperature gets up to about 30 degrees centigrade in the sun. And it's one of those places, it's said, you could sit in the winter with the sun shining, with your face getting sunburnt and your feet getting frostbite. What a place.
You find in Ladakh fantastic monasteries every 5 miles or so. Typically on an outcrop of rock overlooking the valley, you'll find a monastery or a nunnery of 400 or 500 monks, potentially. His Holiness Gyalwang Drukpa is the spiritual leader of Ladakh, essentially. And Buddhism prevails throughout the culture.
They're basically a Tibetan Mongolian people that have settled there many hundred years ago. And their religion is Buddhism. And that's where Buddhism, in a way, thrives today.
For most of Ladakh's history, it was incredibly remote. It was 2 days' drive up the mountain from Srinagar, and very, very remote. Now it's easily accessible. About 25 years ago, an airfield was built in Ladakh, and people started to be able to come to Ladakh in summer. Some are people with a genuine and serious interest in the place and its environment and culture. But others come as tourists, and that's fine. But what it does is puts enormous pressure on what was traditionally a subsistence economy. And that becomes a draw for people from the rural communities to get a regular job and earn real money. So there are great pressures there, and particularly for young people there are pressures as to how they should develop.
Many children spend their time, certainly in the summer months, tending goats up in the mountains. They're not sitting down watching TV, going to shopping malls, eating burgers. I mean, it's a very different way of life from a Western kid.
Well, His Holiness Gyalwang Drukpa has a vision for the school, really as a model school, and what's the appropriate way to modernize Ladakh. He says that the project should be a model for appropriate modernization.
Leh is quite distracted already. And of course, I could see that there will be no peace. So of course, the kids will naturally be distracted. So therefore, I was looking for a place where it is not very far from the capital city, yet it is not in the capital.